wanted to talk today about the big bad wolf in Nordic mythology. Come a bit closer. Come sit with me by the fireplace. Wait. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Rainy. I consider myself a Germanic pagan or a Dutch pagan. And in this channel I discuss the beauty of paganism. So today we talk about the big bad wolf. We talk about Fenrir. For those who don't know, Fenrir is one of the three children of Loki and the witch Angerboda. First was Jormungandr, the third is Hel, and I believe that Fenrir is the middle child, which, as you know, is always the worst. No, not really. But the reason I make these videos is, like, I believe there's a lot of stuff we can learn from Nordic mythology, but when it comes to like Odin, it's somewhat clear what he could represent. Odin could represent wisdom. Thor is strength or inner strength, and Loki chaos, or maybe intellect, maybe a bit of madness. Loki's maybe a subject for another video. But if you look at the other characters in Nordic mythology, like Fenrir, they don't tell you this is what he represents. And I think that if you know what he represents, you can get like this knowledge that our ancestors put in these tales. You can get it out and it can nourish you. That's what I believe anyway. So what does he represent? Well, when I started to think about this, oh, and by the way, this video is just, what I'm doing here is I'm sharing my thoughts and my perspective. I'm not a pagan pope. I don't have all the answers. I don't even have half the answers. So I just share. I'm a thinking man, and I like to share my thoughts. So I've given this a lot of thought, and it felt like a riddle. It felt like I was Batman and Nordic mythology was the Riddler. Riddle me this, riddle me that. What do we know of the second son of Loki and Angerboda? Well, we know that it starts small and it grows, and it keeps on growing, and it grows so big that not even the gods can contain it. That's not the only thing we know. We know that its father is Loki, and Loki represents chaos. So we're looking for something that is born out of chaos, and which starts small and which grows exponentially, and that nobody, not even the gods, can stop. I think it might be rage. Rage and anger start small, but grow and grow and grow, and if you don't learn to contain it, it will destroy everything in Ragnarok. Well, not specifically everything, because there are two big myths in which the big bad wolf Fenrir appears. One is Ragnarok. I'll speak on that shortly. Because he doesn't just destroy everything, he destroys specific things, and I think there are some important hints in there. But the most well-known myth is that Fenrir has some sort of relation to the god of justice, to Tyr, or Irmin, as he is sometimes called. When they try to bind him, it doesn't work the first time, it doesn't work the second time, but the third time they get this magical chains, and they get it made by the dwarves. And Fenrir says, nice and all that you want to bind me a third time, but I don't trust you. So I'm gonna need one of the gods to put their hands in my mouth. So if you are lying and I can't break free from this, then I'll take his hand. So Tyr volunteers, because he's the bravest of all the gods. Odin would say he's probably just not the wisest of all the gods. And I would say to Odin, man, you sacrificed your eye. You know, he is hand. You all make sacrifices because you can't get something out of nothing. That's why we sacrifice. But that's another video. So that's how Tyr loses his hand. So I thought about, like, you know, there's this connection between Fenrir and Tiwaz. Is there a connection between rage and justice? I think there is. I think the reason Tyr had a connection with Fenrir because rage is often justified. Not always, but it often is. Say for instance, my neighbor or somebody else robs me of a lot of money. How am I going to feel? I'm going to be enraged. Is that rage justified? Yes, it is. But I believe that this myth of Tyr and Fenrir, I think it teaches us that, you know, even if your rage is justified, if you let it loose, justice will lose a part of itself. Justice lost his hand. So it's actually a cautionary tale. Don't let the wolf of rage in our own subconscious, don't let it free. And there's actually some stuff I haven't figured out completely yet. Well, there's actually a lot of stuff I haven't figured out completely yet, but in this case, it's when they bind Fenrir, they use, the dwarves, they use ingredients, and they use something like the breath of a fish and the sound of a cat walking, and they use stuff that I don't think really exists. So I'm thinking, like, maybe that's the way to deal with your rage, to distract it a bit, like to give it stuff it doesn't understand, like that you make it untouchable, the stuff you give him. Because when you're dealing with an angry person, you know, and you start to go against it, they get more angry. But if you, like, cheer them on, you go, yeah, you do it, then they also might do it. So the best thing to do is to give it something it can't touch. Give him the sound of a cat walking, and give him the sound of a fish breathing. Maybe it's that. I haven't figured that out completely. But second myth in which the big bad wolf Fenrir appears is, of course, Ragnarok. Now, he has two offspring, which basically makes Loki a grandpa, which is fun to think about. I believe it's Skoll and Hati, which translates to mockery and hate. Could mockery and hate be a product of rage? It doesn't fit as well as the other myths, but it could. It's not, my explanation hasn't been disqualified yet. And Skoll and Hati, they devour the sun and they devour the moon. Now you can think about what the sun and the moon could mean symbolically. Moon reflects and the sun just gives, but it's mostly light that they play on, and light could represent consciousness and your ability to see. So if you let your rage just grow and grow and grow, what you lose is your ability to see. That could be true. Sounds good. And in the end, I almost get a feeling like Odin doesn't like me talking about this. Fenrir kills Odin. Odin representing wisdom. So if you let your rage get the better of you and just let it roam free, eventually you won't see things clearly and it will devour your wisdom. So maybe that's the story. Maybe that's the wisdom inside the story. I don't know this for sure, but I like the way it sounds. So all of you, take care, stay safe, don't let your rage grow, see if you can bind it, because in the end it will devour even your wisdom, and that will be a real shame. Take care. Bye bye now.